All right, those of you that are going to eventually waste your fucking time and watch this, yeah, we're going to be discussing effectively the new weight classes going on in the IWF because we just can't seem to ever not change them. Where other sports love to keep things in the same for a long, long time, we're gonna change them over and over again. So this is me just prepping for our podcast that we do. I keep saying we, it's fucking me. And here we go. Big epic countdown. All right, hey everyone, welcome back to the Tough Lift Podcast, episode 37 here with Matt Adamczyk, your host. I'm the owner and head coach and classy top class A janitor of, I guess not fucking class A, that's a lie. I'm more like a class C janitor of 4-Star Strength, the barbell club that I've owned. I've owned for a while. Yeah, damn. I actually side note, was doing some math while talking to an athlete the other day, and I'm heading into my 18th year of doing Olympic weightlifting in some way, shape, or form. And that's like consistent, no fucking breaks. So those of you that played foosball in high school and threw a fucking football over them there mountains and then took a 15-year break from power cleans, I don't want to hear it. I started the power clean in late of 2006, and I have not stopped fucking power cleaning. Thank you, hashtag Army selfless plug to my trainers and commanders. But so we're in it, we're moving to it, and we're grooving. Now the IWF has done it again. All right, there's some topics that I will not discuss because they are kind of behind the scenes. But one of the things is the weight classes have shifted. All right. And I'm not going to say that it all comes down to money, but guess what? It might come down to money. But anyways, on to our topic. So yes, the IWF has changed its weight classes again. So episode 37 is officially called the new weight classes. Because at least since I've been in the sport, we've changed 3 times now. So I'm also doing a live stream of this on YouTube. I'm just testing it out. So if you see me flipping, that's what I'm doing. Okay, so 1998. Let's all go back to where like half of you weren't even born yet. You were just little ideas maybe in your parents. That was the last time the weight class was changed. All right, this would bring about what we would refer to many as the end of an era. Many of us that just loved weightlifting, getting into the sport in the early 2000s. Those were, I mean, damn, those are our heroes. Okay. Those are our heroes, 1998, all the way to 2018. That was a beautiful section. All right. That was like a beautiful time, beautiful section. They kept it. It was there. We had decent weight classes, especially for here in America, things that like fit us pretty well. A lot of the popular names that came up in the sport lifted in this area. A lot of the, I mean, shit, some of the heads of countries' teams now lifted in this era. This was like the last dawn, if we will. It's the last dawn of our sport. Unfortunately, it was also riddled with massive amounts of doping. Not that the previous was, but it was more, I guess, let's rewind there. Little edit, if I could actually edit well, it would go, all right, it was riddled more than normal getting caught accounts because, I mean, weightlifting's been doping dirty since the beginning of time as far as I'm concerned. But a lot of people started getting caught a lot more often, which caused a lot of problems. So the IWF decided like, hey, we have to get rid of these. And by decided, I mean, they were kind of threatened. They were threatened with, hey, you guys need to fix this. So what they did was they got rid of all the weight classes. All right. They got rid of all the weight classes. They got rid of all the records. And there was some contention in that, people having their records not be able to be beaten, etc. But basically, it was common knowledge that the records had gone so high that nobody could even beat them while being clean. And one of the things that is important to athletes and nations at an elite level is breaking records and getting gold medals, because this is how finances are paid. Everything comes down to money, folks. National pride, secondary to putting money in the piggy bank. All right. So basically, they're like, all right, let's wipe all the weight class records. We're never, quote unquote, I need to find the quote because it was said, we will never return to these weight classes. And we'll head into that next. But basically, we got a new chunk of weight classes. It was a little all over the place. Many felt you had weird percentages of body weight difference between the weight classes. You had some wild weight classes that were rumored. I don't want to get assassinated here. Rumored basically that we'll use the term Asian Federation countries, some of them to not be named, had maybe paid off some people to ensure some of the smaller weight classes got in, because it would also ensure them a higher chance of medaling. Because, there's not that many countries that can produce 45 kilo sized people and 55 kilo sized adult males. So we kept weight classes that weren't heavily populated in the globe. And then we're confused, fast forward, when it came time to the Olympics, and we were like, hey, there's like not enough people to fill these classes. We might not do them. And everyone's like, whoa, what do you mean? We're only getting representation in X amount of classes, not all 10. And we went to 10 weight classes. All right. It was ridiculous. We even during this had a magical weight class called the 90 that some people don't even know existed. Honestly, like one of my favorite weight classes for female, because it allowed a female that is a tall, strong, healthy, athletic female to be in a fucking weight class without being called a super heavyweight. Crickets. Yeah, that's what happens when you have a bunch of old men at the helm. So sorry for that one, ladies. But basically, we got rid of the 90. It was there for a day. It was there. We competed in it. Me and my athlete, Caitlin Cooper. We took advantage of that shit. Let me tell you, and it worked perfectly. She was 75.6 or some shit, and we were the 90 kilo representative athlete. It was amazing. But hey, you play the field. So anyways, so they make all these new weight classes. They get rid of one, get rid of it, bring it in, get rid of it, blah blah. They settle finally. Now the USAW did the same. All the other countries did the same. And then when the Olympics came, they're like, hey, we can't have all these weight classes. It's too many. We're reducing the sport. So now all of a sudden, this paradox occurred where you can hang out in your weight class, but you may not be able to compete in the Olympics in it. So you may need to compete for 3 years, being able to pay your bills, win competitions and shit. But when it comes to the Olympics, you better be in one of these weight classes we've selected by all this super high level science. Crickets again. So that way you can actually compete in the Olympics. We're also, in the meantime, going to take all the athletes in the other weight class that you don't compete against. Well, they also now need to come down to your weight class that you're safe in, and we're going to fuck you up and, throw a bunch of competition and you're not used to, which is, not stressful at all, having to worry about 12 newcomers to your weight class. Then we're going to make a super complicated qualifying process with points and Robi, if you know that word. Some probably just had like PTSD. But this point system where you could compete at meets and get points for this event and this event and this event. Oh my God, it was brutal. Fucking brutal. Rest in peace. Rest in peace, man. If you survive those quads, rest in peace. That's all I got to say. RIP. Let me grab some pink juice here. So fast forward. This thing's a clusterfuck. We have too many weight classes. Our sport is getting reduced. We still have doping issues. We may or may not have monetary issues. And so now we've done another weight change. So my third weight change since I've been in the sport. Incredible. We've flipped them all around, and we're now back to 8 weight classes for each gender. For the adults, for like senior. Youth weight classes as of this time have not been released. I can't wait to see what a clusterfuck those will be, because we have a bunch of adults with no experience working with children, or just looking at numbers in science books. But we've made new weight classes again. Okay, now the hope for this, as per IWF release, Jalud's word himself, who's Mr. IWF, if you don't know. Basically, their concept is if we reduce the amount of weight classes, a couple things that happen. We can, first and foremost, we should have a chance at having more of our weight classes represented at the Olympics, even being a reduced sport. I'm for that. I want to see my athletes compete in their weight classes. I don't want to see athlete A that I love seeing compete as this fucking starve down or chunk up to where they don't belong and they don't feel good or lift well. It's dumb. So that's like that. Now, next, we also have monetary things, because it's always about the money. You have athletes basically being able to now like go to competitions for shorter time, which reduces funding on the teams. The competitions aren't 9 to 10 days long. They can be reduced to 7 or 8, which I still think is fucking ridiculous. I don't know why. I can run a 5-session fucking meet in one day in my local ass gym. For some reason, we only can run 2 sessions per day at these IWF events. I think it's there's some, oh man, I'm gonna paint a target on my head. I think there's some prissiness going on. I think it's a little ridiculous, and I think you can run probably 4 sessions a day, reduce these international events down to fucking 4 days, and not have the world's longest track and fucking field event. But that's just my opinion. There's literally full fucking like soccer leagues and weekend tournaments that can get done. These people play like 4 or 5 soccer games. Athletically, that's a lot, and they still are okay. And we're worried maybe about our judges getting a little too fucking tired or sleepy. I don't know. That one always has irked me. It's just ridiculous when it comes to cost, how long we have to rent venues, how long these teams have to spend money. You guys that are hurting on money, start looking at where you're fucking bleeding it from. But hot take. The real big thing is like we should have more representation at the Olympics. That's where the big money is. That's where we get sponsors, popularity, stuff like that. Also, bringing it down is going to help you as the viewer, the fan, whatever you are, the competition, be able to know who the fuck you're actually watching. They're not hopping between 3 different weight classes. There's only 8. The ranges between weight classes are greater, so it's harder to actually do so. So, respectively, your athlete should stay where they are. Okay, now, what are the actual fucking weight classes? Let's go to that. All right, for men, bottom and top, 60 kilo class. Bye, little tiny non-human class. That's gone. Bye. Okay, 60, still kind of small, but I get it. 65, 71, 79, 88, 98, 110, 110 plus. Okay, let's unpack that. First of all, fucking RIP if you're taking any of the tests this week or this month on weight classes. You have to memorize all these after you just memorized all the new ones. So those of you that are welcome and new to the sport, welcome. We're going to change shit on you all the time. Now, men's weight classes, things I love to see. Hell yes, the 98 weight class is back. That range. Okay, now, doesn't sound like a big deal. But when you pull data as an American and you look at like the average athletic size, that's us, baby. That's us. Europe and America is going to have revenge. Okay. Now the 110, thank you. Thank you. We're finally into a range where like you need to be a big boy to be in that category. No 102 bullshit. The 102 is the most absurd weight class in the fucking world. I will die on this hill. Like, I'm a 102 right now. I don't belong as a 102. I was a fat, heavier athlete, and I'm too big still and need to lose weight to go down to the weight class I need to be, which is sub fucking 110 for sure, but like sub 100 to be honest, to be athletic. The 102 is just a weird weight class. There's no reason for it. Can't even find a fucking region. If I had a map, I wouldn't know where to throw my fucking dart at. Like when you look at a 110, you look at a 110 plus, you're like, that's a big dude. That is a big dude. He belongs there. All right. Fun fact, those of you that don't know, I believe I might get checked on this, but I believe both my coaches that I work with or have worked with, Bob Morris was a 110. If you know No Mercy Morris, beautiful head of hair, super skinny and tiny now. Not skinny and tiny. That was mean. Bob still squats and presses. Much smaller framed. He was a 110. Okay. That means bigger than me. Bob was bigger than me. Then also Vance. I think Vance actually just posted a picture of him lifting as a 110. So go to his IG, like it, and make sure you see him as a 110. It's a tall, male, big man class. That's what it should be. 98 is athletic. That's athletic, medium-sized adult. 88, medium. And then you start to like 79 is where you're starting to get like small, athletic little shits that outlift me. If I sound bitter, I am. Okay. 65-71 is a little interesting. It's a pretty big spread, in my opinion, for what we've seen on the competition floor. Like you can be a 65, 66 kilo athlete and you can bulk up and fill that 71 all the way up to it. But like you're gonna get some really disproportioned male looking athletes you're gonna see like these really tall 71s, and then you're gonna see these like super chunky, stocky, short boys in the 71. That'll be an interesting weight class to watch. That's all I care about the men. We don't give a shit about the men. All right. Women's weight classes. That's the one where like, thank you. They brought back my classes. I love watching fucking women lift because they have an ounce of grace about them. They're not just a big dumb animal lifting a bar like a male. They have to have grace, all right, finesse. And I grew up watching these weight classes. Now, we're quote unquote never returning to these weight classes. We have returned with 48 out the gate. This is, though, like the quintessential smaller frame female. You're at the bottom of the weight classes. We're in a training hall. You can tell what a 48 is right away. A 45 is an emaciated, you're too small. You are unhealthy. Your muscles probably aren't even growing anymore. If you're an adult, like it's rough. You probably are, I'm comfortable saying, either way starving yourself, macronutrient based, or you are short enough to where you're an outlier, and outliers shouldn't be weight classes, if that makes sense. You can lift as a 45 for sure. No hatred there, but it should not be a full fucking weight class. So 53. Oh God, beautiful weight class for Americans. We saw a lot of really good 53s in our past. 58s saw a lot of good, and then we go right to 63s, not a 64. Totally different now at the 63. Okay. But now we have the 69. Oh, welcome back. Oh my God. All my 64s, we're growing, baby. We are growing. You better be like up to my shoulder if you're going to come to me and ask, can I be a 63? If you're taller than my shoulder, you're fucking 69 now. The true American sweetheart weight class, as far as I'm concerned. 77 up next. Interesting. Okay. 81 was a little too big, kind of a weird outlier weight class for females, in my opinion. 77, clutch. All right. I liked it. I like this. I like what we're seeing. This is going to be a healthy, athletic, medium height female. All right. 86. That's a big jump. 77 to 86 is a huge jump. We're going to see a very large range, in my opinion, of athletes there, especially here in the States. And man, this is going to be a popular filled weight class. That's what I'll say on that one. So I'm interested to see what comes out of that. Then we have 86 plus. Okay, so like not much of a difference, but basically we're going to continue on with the trend, which is where I get pissed off. Women that are strong and tall get fucking wrecked. RIP. Bye bye. Sorry. No one cares about you. No, I'm just kidding. I care about you. But we for some reason can sit there and make a 110 weight class, know what that looks like when we look abroad and we're like, that motherfucker used to carry a broadsword and a shield into combat. And then we look around, we look at women and we're like, 86. That's as high as we go. That's a super heavyweight in our weight class. Get the fuck out. Sorry, you failed again. Thumbs down. 2 thumbs down from me, Matt Adamchak, 4-star strength to the IWF officially on your super heavyweight category. Because you have super heavyweight females that are doubling that number for their body weight. Let's just ponder that. Something wrong there. Okay? Make a class for them. They deserve it. They are just as equally represented. They should have a weight class. They are athletic. They are athletes. And they're not fucking outliers. That's the thing. With a 45, you have an outlier. There's very few strong women that are 6 foot and weigh more than 86 kilos that belong in a fucking muscle and fitness magazine because they're so jacked. All right, I'm going to say the name. She was dirty, but like Tatiana Kasharina. Fucking jacked, man. And she wasn't even that tall. And you have newer lifters that are just as tall, just as jacked, and just as ready to fucking get stronger. Where is our female like 92, our fucking 94 weight class? And then it goes super. Answer me that. That's my question. Please, in the fucking comments, give me something. You can stroke my ego. I'm not going to hate on that. Okay. Really, really overall, I think men in the middle weight classes, you're gonna see most of them stick to where they are. There's a massive field to play in there, but you're not gonna see these massive jumps of like 98 down to 88. That's really fucking hard to do, in my opinion. I'm currently doing it. It's not great, but like, same thing, 88 to 79. I think it's gonna be super hard to see that versus like 79 to 71. That's doable. 110, somebody could be hanging out at like 103 and cut down, put the Cheetos down, maybe down to 98. It's pretty easy. So there's going to be some massive field of play movement there, to figure out where these people go. And mind you, it's the hope. This is where it gets really fun. This is my conversation I had. God damn, look at my beard. It's fucking gray as shit. I need a shave. I'm old as fuck. That's actually my skull right there. There's some, like, we still don't know if we're going to be represented in all the weight classes. So what if they do the same shit they do to us and they only give us 4 weight classes out of 8? How the fuck are you going to have representation of that? Because now you have a bigger spread of percent body weight between each weight class because you went from 10 to 8. So what you're going to do, I mean, even if I just go every other, you're going to go 60, 71, 98, 110 plus. What happens to the fucking 79s? What do? They just get fluffy as shit, or they starve. So, bananas, as my friend says. Y'all better pray to the weightlifting gods they return and give us all of our representation. Like, I have a lifter that I'm worried about this for, but I mean, we're playing the up game. We're gonna fill. We're gonna get as close as we can, so we're ready to do shit if we need to. But like for you as an athlete, if you're new, you shouldn't be worried about weight class. You should just lift. Wherever you fall, you fall. I do not support any sort of unhealthy mandate of cutting, starving. I'm not shilling any sort of like, water cuts or any crazy shit like that. I think it's irresponsible as a coach. I also think if you're that fucking focused in your first year of weightlifting on how much water you should drink to make sure you cut down to the weight class, I think you probably should put all that effort into fucking staying flat off the ground with your feet and pulling and timing and doing the movement right. Probably just move more weight than cutting down to barely scratch by and qualify for a meet you're probably not ready for. Hot take. But if you are an experienced lifter and you're looking now like, fuck, what do I do? Here's my most professional advice. I've been trained and coached and educated by coaches from around the globe that have been in charge of other national teams. I have the phone numbers to be able to call any of these blessed, amazing coaches and peers around the country that have more experience than me. And almost all of them, I'm confidently would say, you go up. If you're on the edge, you go up, because then there's room to grow. And that's always going to allow you to train harder, train more, and have less injuries because you're properly fueling yourself and not limiting caloric intake. If you're sitting there and you're like 74 and you're like, oh, but I want to be a 69, like, okay, are you wanting to be a 69 because you are, call it what it is, like out of shape? Then that's a different thing. I myself, right? Chucky Matt should have been 123. Yeah, 123, guys. I was a fucking super. All 5'11 of me. No, I'm going down to fucking 98, and then we're going to play around with the idea of 88 now, because that's where I should be. So, like, every competition I'm doing is just like a stamp. All right, stamp down to the way. But, like, you shouldn't be cutting weight just to be able to make a gym competition or a national meet. It's not healthy. And you're wasting your effort in areas that shouldn't even be focused on if you're that new. Also, if you're that new and you're obsessing with weight already, you're probably going to create a bunch of fucking mental issues. So let's avoid it. Okay, now competition prep for long-term planning. So like my athlete, all right, that is deciding where he's going to fit. Okay, the thought pattern going into this is basically it's easier, A, to fuel, like I already said, and train hard and go up, knowing as a high-level lifter, knowing with years of experience that we can cut down if it calls for it is a possibility, is how we're approaching it. It is harder to cut down depending on the range, but going up in weight suddenly and like trying to put on a kilo or two, like 2-3 weeks after a meet is brutal. And you feel like shit. We know cutting is bad, but like, I don't know if you've ever had to like ingest a kilo or a kilo and a half of water to make weight. It's not fun. Also, you just feel weird if you're doing it with like food and shit. So I think you should long-term plan, and then you taper or you build into that plan. And as it goes, you may not weight lift in your weight class you want to be in, but you definitely don't rush to it. Rushing to it always screws the pooch. All right. So plan accordingly. The only real feedback I have is out of this and reading some research and stuff is that I think, okay, good things that absolutely come out of this. Ladies, we now have 25 years of data. Right? Jalud said literally in his quote, it's based off 25 years of data that they acquired. We now have 25 years of data of the sport being like actually open to women and inviting to women, and women being the fastest growing population base in the sport. So like, there we go. Some real data. Maybe these numbers are actually being collected upon and reflecting real things versus just a bunch of like old men sitting in a room be like, I think that one that I've seen before. Okay, so maybe that is beneficial. I'm really curious to see what the fuck they're going to do with the youth, because this is one that I really will come out and just publicly shit on if we're doing anything that looks like promoting weight cutting or encouraging unhealthy nutrition habits. So, but guys, that's my spiel. New weight classes. June of 2025 is when these take effect. Each separate nation will have its own processes to get you qualified. If there's like a national meet in the middle of this qualification process, you can find yours at USA Weightlifting, their website. It's crazy easy to find. You just go to this website. It starts with, write this down, GOOGLE. Yep, just go to that fucking website. You can find almost anything. It's crazy. But yeah, enjoy it. And in 20 years, maybe I'll see you here on another podcast talking about another change. Have a good day, guys.